Live from the Republican Party of Texas convention right here in Houston. I'm Brandon Waltons, the managing editor at Texas Scorecard. And wow, it's been a little bit, we've had a little bit of a beat here from doing some of the interviews while some of the action's been happening in the main convention hall, where delegates have just officially reelected Chairman Matt Rinaldi to lead the party. Right now they're fighting over vice chair. We've had some speeches from elected officials, a lot of interesting stuff happening there that we've got more information about at TexasScorecard.com. But rather than being there, I would much rather be right here with Chris Hopper, of course, having a conversation. Chris Hopper, president of the newly launched Texas Family Project. Chris, first of all, thank you for coming. And you've been here through the week, like we have, been talking to delegates. What has been the number one takeaway from what you've been hearing from folks who have been coming through here?
What we have seen as we've been talking to families and parents specifically is that it's obvious that families are not mobilized. Families are not engaged. And so our goal here this weekend has simply been to mobilize families and to help them realize they are the answer. The answer is not a politician. The answer is not, the answer is families being mobilized. And we think there's lots of atrocious things happening in Texas. And the solution, I think, is families being waking up and realizing the chaos.
Certainly we've seen issues, right? Child gender modification, right? We've seen these drag queens for children literally just a couple weeks ago, right? In Dallas, and we're seeing them happen across the state. So a lot of these issues have been brought up. What are the big issues that your organization are planning on focusing on?
That's what we are focused on. You just mentioned them. The child modification issue is a big one. It's one that we have spent time and energy in our efforts to try to expose the chaos. It's happening right here in Texas, in our grand old state. We are seeing thousands of kids being transitioned sexually, and we think it's terrible. And we're trying to let folks know it's happening here in their state, and that it is a family's responsibility to wake up and to be activated and to be mobilized to fight this. And
I think when most people find out, specifically with gender modification, right, in children, I think when most people find out about this, especially Republicans, their first thought was, okay, well, the Texas legislature will take care of this. It's been a legislative priority of the party now for 2 years, could potentially be on the list again, depending on if delegates put it there again tomorrow. And yet we've seen the Republican-led legislature fail to pass this. What do you think the biggest holdup is?
I think, as we all know, that unfortunately in Texas, politicians are only concerned with being reelected. And they say all the right things to all the family groups. They say all the right things to the For Life groups. But when the doors close and the smoke clears, they tend to do what their constituents or their big donors want them to do. And so the chaos behind the politicians in Texas is that they don't stand true to their word, and they turn their back on the people of Texas, and the family pays the price. Ultimately.
And so how is your organization going to help people be able to navigate that? Because a lot of politicians, right, they'll say the same things. They'll say, oh yeah, I'm against banning gender modification. I'm for ending drag shows for children, a number of these family issues, and yet their actions don't match their words.
Yeah, good point, Brandon. Well, a politician, and many have, can go to TexasFamilyProject.com and they can sign the Big Family Pledge. And that pledge is a politician's way of saying we are standing with the family. We're going to fight against the transition of minors. We're going to fight against all these issues that are attacking the family. And we use that pledge as leverage. And so we don't endorse candidates. We have them sign the pledge. When they sign the pledge and turn their back on the families in Texas, we then use that pledge as leverage and say, hold up, you signed a pledge, you said you were for the family, but you are not doing things that would echo your sentiments. So we use that pledge as leverage against the candidates who are hurting the family. So we just say pressure, pressure, pressure.
And if you're somebody, right, who wants to, so your organization is putting pressure, if you're somebody who cares about these issues, right, during the legislative session, what is somebody supposed to do, right, in order to convince lawmakers, in order to get these things across the finish line?
I just think become aware, become involved. Too many Texans are busy with the latest Netflix series and not involved or engaged in the latest political fights that are happening right here in our state. And so I would just say get involved. Be involved locally. There are a lot of parents who have the bandwidth to run for school board or attend school board meetings. We have lots of parents who have, in some cases, the bandwidth to run for something bigger, and they are choosing not to. So our push is for families to find out what their bandwidth is as it pertains to Texas politics and do it. Get off the couch and do it.
Last question real quick. A lot of people, or some people I should say, say, you know what, the Republican Party, if they want to win in November, they shouldn't focus on social issues, right? Social issues, quote unquote, is what they call them. What is your response to that?
I would say the numbers disagree. I say that Texas is filled with families and parents who are concerned. They see the chaos that's happening in schools, especially since COVID. Parents are seeing all the chaos that's happening inside school classrooms and all the chaos that's inside the libraries. And so there is an activated, there is a mobilized unit taking place, and there's a resurgence taking place in Texas. It's starting with the family. They're concerned, they're upset, and they are ready for war. So something is brewing in Texas.
And for those of them that are upset, I think you said it before, but say it one more time, where can they go to follow your project here?
On social media, Family Project TX on all platforms, and our website is texasfamilyproject.com.
Thank you so much, Chris. And thank you for
Brandon.
those tuning in as we're reporting live here from the Republican Party of Texas Convention in Houston. You can follow all our coverage at texasscorecard.com. Thank you.